Hi, in this video I will show you how to use Contour, a full-screen edge detection and outline effect for Unity 6 URP. After importing Contour into your project, go to the project window and select your URP renderer data asset. Then click on Add Renderer Feature button and add the Contour Effect Renderer feature. Next, right-click on the hierarchy window and create a new volume. Here I will create a global volume. Select the volume. In the hierarchy window, assign your volume profile asset here. To customize your contour effect, click on the Add Override button and add a post-processing custom contour volume component. For this tutorial, I will just override all settings and crank up the intensity to 1. And there we go. We have a nice looking outline effect for the scene. Now let's take a look deeper at the settings. I'll open a separated properties window for our renderer data asset. The settings you see in the renderer data are project-wide, and you cannot modify them at runtime. Under the Edge Detection Source section, you decide how it will perform its edge detection algorithm, by color, by depth, or by normal vectors. The Include option decide the rendering event to run our effect. By default, it will run after rendering opaque and transparent objects. Under the Rendering section, there is a Render Edge Only checkbox that allows you to discard all scene color to only show the edges. Let's enter play mode and moving around. Now let's talk about each edge detection source. First, using scene color. This mode will detect edges based on the screen color buffer. It will draw an edge where there is a distinctive difference of color between pixels. Take a look at this box with a UV map. This mode is also good at drawing edge around transparent objects, because transparent objects usually don't write to scene depth and normals buffer. Next, using scene normals. Pretty easy to understand. It draw an edge where the facing direction of two surfaces is different. You can see it here on the wall. Finally, using scene depth. You can notice that with scene color and scene normals enable, we're still missing some edges at this area because they are all facing upward with the same gray color. That's where scene depth comes to the rescue. It draws an edge when there is a significant change in depth, which means there is a distance between two pixels. Now let's talk about the settings in our volume. First, the intensity, as its name suggests, determines how strong the effect applied to the scene. When you set the intensity to 0, this effect will be ignored from rendering pipeline. In a scene with very strong specular reflection, such as this sphere we have here, you can see that there can be a notable artifact. To reduce that, set peak brightness to a lower value. But in contrast, if you set a higher value, it will draw more edge to the surface with similar color, such as the floor here. Depth response, this settings affect edge detection by scene depth. Higher value means it will be more sensitive to depth change, as you can see here. The edge detection algorithm can produce unwanted noise and artifact, depending on the quality of our input image. To refine the result, we use the three properties: weak edge removal, strong edge highlight, and edge clarity. As you can see here, on the arm and body of the robot, there are artifacts that look like shadow. To remove them, drag the weak edge removal to a higher value. In contrast, the strong edge highlight increased the intensity of edges that was not classified as noise. And lastly, edge clarity. A low value makes those edges to gradually fade out, while a high value make them look sharp. In a scene with many objects and background, such as the Viking village here, it can be very noisy if we draw edges for everything at infinite distance. To get around it, you can use the fade distance start and end to fade out the edges. Here I will use a lower fade distance end value. Not just black and white, you can choose different color for your edge and non-edge pixels here. You can do funny things such as making the edge glow by dragging the intensity slider here. For the default blend mode, non-edge color will be the tint color for your image. Okay, let's set it back to default. One last thing, you can change the blend mode. To do that, open the full screen edge detection shader located under Pinwheel Studio, Contour, Runtime, Shaders folder. Then look for the blending group with a sticky note and set your blend mode there. Please note that this is a project-wide setting. Save the graph and get back to the scene. Remember that the default blend mode is multiply. And that's it. That's how you use Contour to enhance your game's visual. See you later.